Hello and welcome to the show today. I'm super excited you could be here because today we're talking about how to take your passion and actually turn it into a profitable business. So many people ask me about launching a business. What business should I launch? Like, what one makes me the most money? I'm like, you're doing it the opposite. You have to find out what you're really passionate about and then turn that into the business because it's a lot of work and a lot of time. And you're not going to want to move forward unless you really love what you're doing. So, to have this conversation with us today is Lizzie Pierce. Now, Lizzie is a Toronto based business owner, content creator, and a passionate advocate for young creatives. Now, Lizzie took a leap of faith, leaving her full-time job at a production company to build her own entrepreneurial empire. Now, alongside fellow YouTuber Chris Hau, Lizzie co-founded No Ha Media Operations Inc., a successful creative agency that has partnered with global brands like Corona, Toyota, Mercedes-Benz, Meridian Credit Union, and the Scotland Tourism Board. Now, with a background as a producer, director in the corporate world, combined with her expertise in photography and cinematography, Lizzie launched her own company, Aluna Media, though through Aluna Media, she began producing educational content on YouTube, from short films to photography and video tutorials as well. Now, she also shares fun vlogs and Q&A sessions, showcasing her authentic sense of humor and engaging personality as well. Now, Lizzie's mission is to inspire and empower young creators, particularly women, to pursue their own creative businesses as well. And she offers practical tips, guidance, and motivation to help her audience start their own projects and take control of their futures. Now, her YouTube channel has garnished over 300,000 followers, and she's formed partnerships with industry-leading brands such as Adobe, Google, and Travel Alberta as well. Through her work, Lizzie wants to show that creative careers can be fulfilling, fun, and financially rewarding. And her goal is for young women to look at their journey and think, if she can do it, I can do it too. Lizzie, you've done so much cool things. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks. Thank you for having me.
Did I pronounce Chris's last name correctly? I say Chris Hau, H-A-U. How do I pronounce that?
It looks like you would pronounce it Ha, but it's actually pronounced How. It's
How.
German. Yeah,
Okay. All right. I'm glad I asked because I do not like to
it's
slaughter
hard.
names, which is why I asked you before I started. Then I was like, oh man, another one slipped in here that I'm going to mess up. So.
It's fine. His last name's tough. Mine's a little easier. I just have some funny spelling in mine.
So how did you do this? How did you transition from corporate world where you were into kind of running your own creative business?
Well, I mean, that was the goal from the beginning even since I was a kid, I thought, I don't know what I'm going to do when I grow up, but I'm going to like it and it's going to be fun, probably creative, and I'm going to be the boss. And I remember saying that to my mom when I was, yeah, maybe 10 or 11. And when I was in university, I went to school for broadcasting. I freelanced on the side and I educated myself in more of a producing role, but I taught myself photo and video and freelanced in photo and video on the side. And that's how I made money along with my restaurant job while I was learning. And I liked doing that. I liked the flexibility of working for myself. I saw and heard of other individuals through school who had grown their own businesses and realized that, there wasn't necessarily as much structure to creative work as, I guess when you're little, you think you're going to join a company, get a job, get promoted, like the traditional route of working. And when I realized that didn't necessarily have to be how it went for me, I kind of thought, well, I'm just going to learn as much as I can and do it myself. I like the flexibility of it. I like that I can do whatever I want. I like that I'm in control. I like that the opportunities are seemingly limitless when I work for myself. There's no one who can tell me no. It's just me. Um, and once I felt like I had enough insight and enough experience, and I didn't feel like, oh, I'm totally ready for this. I know everything there is to know. It was just, I can do this on my own now. I think I know enough. And if I don't start now, and I think I was about 23 at the time, then I'm just going to end up being, in my 30s in the same position, but still wanting to work for myself and start a business, but having even more responsibility. And at 23, I had no responsibility. So I thought, what better time than right now to take the risk? And yeah, Chris, my partner at the time, was in the same boat. And we thought we had complementing skill sets. And so we did it together.
That's exciting. What about along the way imposter syndrome? Like I think that a lot of creatives that I talk to have that problem. Did you experience that? And kind of how did you get enough self-confidence to kind of overcome those doubts to be able to charge forward?
Yeah, I think of course I had it. I still have it. Everyone does. Everyone struggles with it. It's an exercise in, I think, healthy confidence is knowing that you have the competence and the ability to do something, and then kind of just the throw yourself into it attitude to get the job done. But I don't think anyone we know we can do the task, but knowing like, oh, I'm the best at it and I'm so ready for this and everything is going to be great and that knowing kind of ego, I guess, it isn't something that everyone has. I don't think anybody thinks that. I didn't know if it was going to work out. I was just willing to take the risk. I think how I dealt with it then and how I deal with imposter syndrome now is I I look for sources of inspiration and I kind of usually the imposter syndrome comes from comparisons. I've been looking too much at what other people are doing and I'm not focusing enough on my path, what I'm doing, what I can control, how I can move forward, and what just that one next step is. And it really is just putting one foot in front of the other every day rather than getting intimidated by the whole process and thinking, how the hell am I supposed to do this? I suck. I could never be that. I'm never going to get there. You're thinking like, so many miles down the road, just look at your next step. And that's how you end up making progress.
So when you do that and you look for inspiration, where do you find that from? I mean, do you find it from where do you find it from? Do you find it from other influencers? Do you find it from books? Like, where do you get some of your best inspiration from?
Sometimes it's some of my friends, and sometimes it's books, and sometimes it's other videos. But most of the time, my best ideas come from when I've just created some space to be quiet and alone with my thoughts. And sometimes I'm on the treadmill. Sometimes I'm listening to music. Sometimes I'm in the flow of cleaning the kitchen. Usually I have to be alone with my own brain for a bit and kind of let it. And I'm not trying to think of an idea. I'm just kind of in this complacent, happy state where I can reflect on things. And you're kind of thinking of these little situations that happened in your day or in your week. And I think a lot about like what's interesting about life and why the philosophical aspects of life. Why was I able to move across the country in a month and find it not at all stressful, whereas someone else would have a complete mental breakdown? What did I focus on to make that happen? What is the meaning of life? Do I want to keep working? Do I want to work 40? I just ask myself all these questions all the time. And through that, you find these little stories and meaning and ways of romanticizing your life and some of the stories that you've been a part of. And you get ideas for things that you feel like sharing. And it's definitely a little more laborious when it comes to coming up with ideas for clients because there's a lot more restraints or constraints, excuse me, within that you have to work in. And usually in those cases, I will try and bounce ideas off of someone else and we get into a flow of it, look up references on online and things that get us excited because there has to be a challenge. There has to be some curiosity, I think, that goes with a concept or idea in order to get the ball rolling, in order for you to feel interested enough to pursue something. And I think that is the main source of inspiration is exploring an idea or a concept, which is why I've really enjoyed making little explainers and documentaries at least once a year.
How do you make that leap? I mean, being creative, it's tough to take on all of the things of running a business or launching a business. And I talk to a lot of people and have a lot of friends that are in photography or videography, not to the level that you are. But for them to go from doing that to a full-blown like business, that's a huge leap that very, very small percentage of them ever make. So what do you think? What is the steps that somebody that's in that creative field now, like you were, to go from doing it, sometimes oftentimes as a side hustle, which is where they start, to actually getting in and doing the things that are needed to actually make it into a full-blown business?
I mean, that was the entire premise. That was the entire idea behind my mentorship program. It's actually called Passion to Profit, and I started it about I want to say 5, 6 months ago. And it was just because, yeah, so many creatives where they excel in the creative aspect of the business. They got into it because they love shooting or they love editing or they, love drawing or painting or whatever, and they have no idea how to make money at it. Or they have a few clients and they understand, buy, sell for this amount. And if I just sell more, then I'll make more. But it's the marketing strategy behind it. It's how do you grow a team? How do you create offers that are um, desirable for your audience? Who is your audience? Um, how can you how can you get these opportunities with clients? Where do you find clients? How do you do exchanges for product? They have no idea how to go through that. And I think because how I in particular learned this stuff, I think again it was interest and it was the drive to I have to figure it out because I need to be good at it. And if I want this to be my life, I'm going to have to learn. And then I found it really interesting. I enjoy the process of working with clients and having a team, and um, I like being in charge of my business just as much as I love creating. Where I think most creators really love the creating part, which is why sometimes in the program, like I can give you all the tools, but it's up to you if you actually want to be the person to use these, or you can outsource and hire, and you guys could be a team. Find somebody else who loves that so that you can keep doing what you want. And that's what I've started to do more of. And over the years is realizing what do I actually need my hands in? Because my business is still growing. What do I actually need to be on the ground for and be, hands on with? And what could I outsource and what don't I like doing and what's taking up my day so that I can do more and yeah, provide jobs for more people.
So you make the leap from kind of the corporate life to being able to do this on your own, then be able to launch it into a full-blown business. What made you want to make the leap and then to the educational piece to be able to help other people, take your journey, learn from it, and do it for themselves?
I think that was the whole reason I started my YouTube channel. That's the meaning behind everything. I think at the end of the day is what it's very hard to motivate yourself in a business if it's completely driven by financial gain, um, or hitting whatever your goals are in terms of like winning awards or, those kind of material goals, uh, because you'll hit them. And then what? And that's kind of defeating. And that's why I think so many very successful people you'll find are very cynical or have donated so much of their money because they realize this actually doesn't do anything for me. I wanted this so badly and now I have it and I don't know what to do with myself. So when I started my YouTube channel, I had the company. I didn't need anything financial from it. I saw the opportunity that it could afford me, but it was my motivation was, okay, I'm going to be this person online. If people want to look at me and go, look, someone else is doing exactly what I wanted to do, and she's young, and maybe another woman is going, and she's a woman. If she's doing it, I can do it. And so the second you get one message from someone or two messages from someone, and you've been able to help inspire them, that has all the meaning in the world. That's the reason that I get up every day is because I go, okay, I actually can change somebody's life today. It's not the stuff I make for clients and this, even the videos I make, I feel like are completely selfish. They're just fun. And yeah, I need money, but it's really in the educational side of things that it's been the most rewarding. So so why I did it was, there's a few reasons. Uh, One would be, yeah, it's very fulfilling to be able to inspire others and work with other people. And two, to be fully transparent, it was also a way of, it was another revenue stream that didn't allow me to travel that I could control, that I, yeah, had complete control over. And as I get older, I recognize that I'm not necessarily going to be able to travel as much all the time. My partner has three kids, so I try to support him with that. And it's more sustainable for me to build a online repertoire of maybe courses and the live mentorships and digital products than continuing to constantly travel and uh, produce work for clients because there's only a finite amount of time in the day and I'll max out and I'll burn out and I don't get a pension. So I have to figure something out.
You've done such a phenomenal job of creating a tribe that you mentor, that they look up to you for guidance and growing their
Thanks.
business. What do you do? Who do you go to? Who do you really look up to for mentorship? Because sometimes that's a lonely path when you not only build a business, but then you're the one everybody's looking up to. Who do you go to when, I mean, I'm curious when you're looking for mentorship?
I've been trying to answer that question for a while, and I realized a few months ago that I don't have one person that has every single thing that I have. It's very hard to find someone who I could look at and go, "Oh my gosh, you are exactly what I want in 5 years, 10 years, whatever. I want your job, I want your life, I want everything you're doing." Um, so I've found pieces of inspiration in multiple people. Um, Anyone who has, I think, built a successful business or brand for themselves and still has a good head on their shoulders and a good sense of life and family, those are the people that I really admire. Um, and anyone who, yeah, like some of my closest friends. I mean, my partner inspires me and how he has seemingly no need for sleep and can keep working and building his business. Just like his resilience is incredibly inspiring. One of my best friends, Nicole Shapiro, director of photography, the way that she hustles and the way that she works, I find incredibly inspiring. And then there are other parents that I've met that I think are really inspiring and like their patience and the way that they've raised their kids. So there is no one person for me. I grab elements of other people because I don't believe that we're not all going to end up the same. So what matters to me is what I reflect on and how can I pull that from different sources to make up exactly, the person that I want to become.
So my partner launched the very first video she put on our TikTok channel was a Taylor Swift video, had like 8 million views. So
Yeah.
she's like, I like this. I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. And I'm like, it's pretty hard just to get things to go viral. Second video is like 5 million views. Third video is like 4 million views. And then there's somebody like me that, just trying, right? Every day. And I
Yeah.
like 500,000, 2,000. I think a lot of people can relate to that. You've had a lot of success at building a very successful brand and following. Like, what advice do you give to all those people out there that are trying to do that and just striking out where you've actually found the path to success?
A couple things. The moves that you're making now when no one's watching are the most important. So focus on your own improvements and your own growth rather than getting that from numbers and views and everything else. That's that outside influence. Um, and the other thing is, what is your definition of success in the first place? If you feel like you're not getting success, what maybe your definition of success is counterproductive. If it's not motivating you and you feel like you're striking out every time, you're not going to keep going. And the whole point is to keep going. Some actors didn't make it until later in their careers. You don't know when your moment's going to be. And the other thing is, if money is your goal, money doesn't discriminate against who's willing to put in the work to get it. So maybe it's just a matter of, grinding and you're letting yourself get a little too defeated. Um, and going back to the definition of success is if you look at what's happened in the past and you're thinking, well, I failed at that. How could I possibly do this going forward because I failed at my previous attempt of doing XYZ. What's happened to you in the past never dictates what could happen in the future. You have no idea what the future holds. So just because something didn't work out before, it doesn't mean it's going to work out again. How many iterations of the light bulb were there before it actually worked? You have no idea how many times you're going to fail until you get there. And yeah, it's definitely demotivating. It's a bummer. It sucks. So you have to flip your mindset in order to keep working. And that's what's going to make you ultimately, in my opinion, it's the person that's more successful and the most successful is the one who just keeps going no matter what hits them in the face on the way there.
Yeah. Well, I think it's an interesting dichotomy because On one end, like I believe that things are kind of a little bit easier if you're on the right path. And then sometimes you just run into resistance because you're on the wrong path. And when you self-correct, you kind of feel it. And then other times, like I'm just drive, 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 like, knock down, get back up, knock down, get back up.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate that to know that you're maybe going down the wrong path or just keep fighting and pushing forward? Because like even on social channels, for example, maybe I'm on YouTube and failing, but I'm better on TikTok, for example. I mean, it can be applied a million different ways, but how do you know you're on the wrong path and self-correct versus you're on the right path and you just need to continue to drive and get back up and fight?
I think there's, only you would know the answer to that at the end of the day. Having trusted counsel to give you outside opinions and know, am I just the one bringing myself down or can I make changes here? I think that, doing the same thing over and over again is the definition of insanity and isn't going to move you forward. So if we're talking about social media growth, for example, if you're putting out the same video and you're not trying anything new and you're not trying to pivot your strategy or anything, then yeah, I don't think things may not change if you're not trying to grow. And I mean grow on an inspirational level, on an educational level. Um, so if you're not doing those things and you're not motivated and whatever your definition of success is on TikTok or on YouTube isn't being met, if you want to keep going, change that definition. If you don't and you're done, and then stop and find something else. It's all about like what is your motivation at the end of the day? Like why are you trying to grow on social media? If that's the example we're talking about. Is it in my case to inspire other people? Then you don't need a huge following. You inspire one person, you already did it. Inspire two people, you already did it. If it's to grow a huge following, then there are strategies that will get you there. You just need to fail a lot to learn how to do it. And some people fail faster than others.
So when you mentor your tribe, what are some of the things that you see repetitively they're just stuck on? And what's some of the advice that you give them to get unstuck to be able to move forward?
Probably the mindset in they think small in terms of their budgets and they constantly tell themselves, I can't. I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. My client won't never tells me they want that. They always tell me I only have 2 hours. I said, well, have you asked for more? They don't ask enough. They wait till they're told. And that's in many aspects of things. They wait till the client tells them the budget. They wait till they're asked to do a project. There's no outreach. There's no hustle. They're hustling in terms of the work they're creating and watching videos and consuming content, but there's no actual I'm going out, feet to the ground, looking for clients, emailing, what's my strategy? What could I do next? How do maybe I could offer something for free. Um, yeah, they're a little too passive in that aspect. Oh, a huge bird just flew around behind you.
I know I'm up here on the 25th floor, so it's really interesting being up here at that level and seeing some of the crazy things that I'm able to see up here. It's a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, I bet.
So when you are helping your audience, a lot of creatives I find it's hard for them to build structure or systems in a business or understand that process. And you touched upon this earlier. Is that where you kind of direct them to say, look, if this isn't your thing, don't do it, outsource the thing? Or
Yeah.
what are your advice do you give?
Yeah, so I will, with everyone, they get a one-on-one call. And after that one-on-one, and I've kind of assessed and poked holes in their process, I put together an action plan. And sometimes, usually, that action plan includes what they should be, kind of what I just mentioned, in the fact that they're not asking enough. They don't have that initiative and that hustle. So I put together actual line items of things they need to do and execute and ideas based on what they've told me. Reach out to this person, your friend in real estate, because you said you want to shoot real estate. Go ask them. So I just kind of give them concrete steps to give them ideas on what that looks like because they just haven't thought outside of the box. And in terms of processes in their business, the modules that are built into the program already and already recorded, and this is outside of the one-on-one time that they can watch at any time. Yeah, I give them a whole package of templates, checklists, fill in the blank forms, um, and an order of operations of how the whole client communication process should run from like the discovery call to the follow up and looking for retainers at the end of it. So they literally have a checklist to follow. They have a whole process that I walk through. So if they follow that, they can't miss anything. And then it just becomes the nuances of conversation and verbiage and really understanding pricing and value. And those are harder to teach because it's not a fill in the blank and it's not something I can make a checklist. It just comes with practice.
Lizzie, you've done so many remarkable things in your business. One of which is you attract really big brands. Any advice? What do you tell your students that are out there that produce phenomenal work like you do that are trying to get out there and land some of those larger brands?
Uh, Find yourself a great agent like I have. Shout out Modern Speak. They've been fantastic. I've worked with them for years. I've also worked with Space Station Integrations in the past, and they've both been incredibly helpful as the liaisons in attracting those brands and pitching me and managing those projects and putting together. I have my own media kit, but they put together their own media kits for me. So I want to make sure that they also get some credit in working with me for the last few years. Um, Otherwise, yeah, you need to have great work and you need to be it's like getting hired for any job. You need to be likable, you need to be accommodating, you need to be on time. Um, you don't have to reinvent the wheel here, but those things are actually hard to maintain for most people. And having a portfolio, of course, a robust portfolio of work in that particular field, if you're going for, if you want to work with tourism clients, showing them your real estate photos isn't going to do a whole lot. You need to have pieces of work that they look at and go, that's exactly what I want. And helping support that, I would say if you're just in media production, you're just producing assets, if you can sell a platform, whether it's a blog or an Instagram or YouTube, that you can also take that content you've produced for them and make sure it gets seen and basically promise viewership and promise engagement. That's what they really want is they need your assets in order for people to see them and then for them to make money. So understand the ROI on their end. It's not just about a pretty picture for them. They need to know how this is actually going to make them money, how they're going to get a return on investing in you. And if that's your strategy from the beginning in the content you're producing and in the work that you're providing, like for example, we offered consultations with marketing and their entire marketing plan beforehand. And that's why I say we because Chris and I did this at the same time, started our social media accounts, our Instagram and YouTube was because we knew we could produce the work, but we knew it was going to be an extra incentive for these brands to hire us if we could also make sure it got seen. Um, so once we could do that, it was kind of a no-brainer for them.
Lizzie, great stuff. What is something I should have asked you that I didn't ask you that you think could be beneficial and powerful for people out there that are trying to turn their passion into profit, let alone what maybe it's photography, maybe it's videography, maybe it's not, maybe it's something else. What is your best piece of advice that maybe I haven't touched upon?
The sooner you can find a mentor or a program that you can invest in and take the leap and actually investing and putting some money down in yourself, that's when you know you've made a commitment and it is going to accelerate your learning. And that's why I really, uh, I'm such a supporter in online mentorships and in online education. and not necessarily in the traditional route that I did, but I still think what I did in university was helpful, just because it's going to speed up your process so much. It's really going to accelerate it. And I think I wasted a lot of time at the beginning, making my own mistakes when I probably could have moved a bit faster by taking some courses. But I also went to university and then worked somewhere for 2 years. So that I think helped me considerably.
Lizzie, thanks for joining us today. Where can everybody go to learn more about you, what you do, and passion to profit as well?
Yeah, you can get every link you would need by visiting my website. It's LizziePierce.com, Lizzie and Pierce. There you'll find the link to Passion to Profit. There you'll find links to my YouTube videos, my Instagram, and everything is just my name, Lizzie Pierce, if you looked it up on YouTube and Instagram. So
Lizzie, you are very, very, very impressive. And I think everybody watching today, there's a lot of things to take next steps to learn from you. And I'll tell you, and I've never said this before on a podcast interview, we've done quite a few. My 13-year-old daughter, like you're exactly the type of person that I would love for her to learn from and mentor. So
thank you so much. That's so nice to hear.
I just love what you do. I think it's just so impressive. So
Thank you.
that's off to you and
Well,
Chris.
if she ever wants to become a YouTuber or a photographer, have her shoot me an email.
I will do that. And I'm going to turn her on to you, make sure that she's checking out your stuff as
For
well.
sure. Thank you so much for having me, Ty.
Thank you for coming on. So listen, wow. I mean, there's a lot of really good tips, and there's so many things I've loved about this conversation. I love how everything that Lizzie says is so well thought out. You can even just see that she takes a moment to be able to give a really, really, really good answer. And it's been so enjoyable having her on, but we just scratched the surface. There's so many things, especially if you are thinking about getting into photography or videography. I mean, this is a no-brainer for you. You need to go to her website. And again, that website is Lizzie Pierce. That's Lizzie, or
Yep.
Lizzie, and then Pierce, Pierce. So that's Lizzie, Lizzie, Pierce, P-E-I-R-E. Let me say that, Pierce. It's hard to even spell
It
that.
is hard.
That letter, I'm telling you. So make sure you go
But
to
that was perfect. Thank
LizziePierce.com.
you.
We're going to give you a link on the show resources page as well. There's a ton of stuff here. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff here. You're first of all, if you're interested in photography and videography, you can see her equipment. You can learn a lot about how she actually does in her profession. Then you can follow her social links there as well. Then she's got a whole separate link just for Passion to Profit and breaks down Passion to Profit, where you can learn more about actually using her as a mentor and being able to learn a lot of the things that we touched upon this program. There's so many things. If you're taking a Passion to Profit, from sales to getting customers to so many things we didn't even have a chance to discuss. And these are the type of things that she discusses on her social media channel. So make sure that you're following her there. But it's also exactly what the Passion to Profit program is all about. So all you have to do is go to her website, which again is Lizzie, Lizzie, Pierce, Pierce.com, LizziePierce.com. Make sure you take less than a minute to follow her on social. It's well worth it because what she has on there is phenomenal. And make sure you check it out because she's got a lot of phenomenal resources on her website as well. So make sure you check it out at LizziePierce.com. Thank you very much for tuning in. Take care. Have a great day.